The hardest part about being a hairstylist is not the braids, it's not the dreadlock retwist, it's the clients. The clients is the hardest part about being a hairstylist. And I'm starting to learn that clients will sit in your chair and expect you to read their minds. I woke up this morning to a 1-star review from a first time client. So please, if you get your hair braided, please listen to this story time so that you do not accidentally give your stylist a 1-star review. Let's read the review. I just woke up crusty, dusty, and all. Booked one style but received another because the front of my hairline wasn't braided in. I was later told she usually leaves the front out unless a client asks otherwise, but that was never discussed beforehand. After paying $120, I asked about fixing it and was told it would cost $20 per braid to redo the front. The braids are neat. The braids are neat. But charging extra to correct an assumption after the service was disappointing. So this client booked with me late Wednesday night. And so I text them the next morning, the day of their appointment. Hey, please send me a picture of your hair and a picture of the design that you want, because they booked braids with design. So I usually ask for a picture of their hair and of the style that they want, just to make sure I can do it and just to see, what they want. I just want 6 braids stitched. Literally a minute after I asked them what they wanted, they said they wanted 6 stitch braids. So how did you book one style and receive another when I gave you what you wanted? So then, like, later on, I quote him like, okay, 6 stitch braids would be $120, right? 6 stitch braids in LA is $120, okay? Put that out there. My stitch braid, I'm gonna leave that out there. I didn't even charge the full amount, right, on top of that. So that's a whole nother story, because sometimes braiders will like undercharge, and then stuff like this happens. This is what happens when you undercharge your services. When you try to compete with like market prices and be a little bit lower because you want to compete with other people's prices, this is what happens. Okay? So if you're a braider out there, your price should be market price. If somebody doesn't want to pay your price, whatever, but do not go below market price or like the standard or like the average of what other people are charging. Because when people see that a braider is charging a little low, this is what happens. You get clients like this, right? So he's like, oh, my hair is already washed and blow dried. So the design in your portfolio was $90, because on Booksy you can put it to where a price starts somewhere, right? So the braids with design start at $90. They're not they start at $90 depending on like how long your hair is, how thick your hair is, and what design you want, right? Starts at $90, right? But I think he just saw $90 and was like, well, I want to get a $90 braid with design. Okay, that style looks cool, but my head big. Think you could do that? What style in my portfolio are you referring to? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm supposed to read your mind though, right? And just know what style you're talking about on my Instagram page. Right? Okay, cool. Then this is a later text. Hey, my barber just left my crib and pointed out that the front of my hairline wasn't caught in the braids, so he couldn't shape me up without cutting a lot of the new growth. The whole reason I got the braids was to be able to keep a clean lineup, which was never stated during our appointment. Is there any way we could fix or redo the front so the hairline is caught properly? I'd really appreciate it. I say thanks for letting me know. To have the hairline caught the way your barber is describing, the braids in the front would need to be redone. That would require redoing the section as an additional service and will cost about $20 per braid. Let me know if you'd like to come in and we can get that taken care of. I understand, this is what he said. I understand. Since the hairline wasn't caught in the front when they were originally done and I already paid $120 for the style, I was hoping we might be able to touch up the front so it comes out right. Just let me know if there's a time I could stop by. So then I'm like, when you first came in, it wasn't mentioned that the front hairline needed to be braided in for lineup purposes. So I styled the braids based on what you booked. To have the hairline caught the way your barber is describing, the braids in the front section would need to be redone entirely. I can definitely fix that area for you, but it would be the fee that I previously mentioned. I know that you have already paid for your hair, but stitch braids take time to redo properly, especially since there is product already in the hair, so that would be an additional cost. This is what he said. I understand it takes time to redo and I respect the work that goes into it. I just assumed the hairline would be included so I could still get a lineup with the braids. He assumed the hairline would be included. So if we go back to the review, the braids are neat, but charging extra to correct an assumption after the service was disappointing. So he had an assumption and I had an assumption. But I get a 1-star review because I have the assumption. Let's finish the message. In 20 years of getting my hair braided in different places, I've never had to mention catching the front hairline before line, so I didn't realize that needed to be specified. Since I already paid $120, if redoing the front is impossible without an additional charge, I'd be okay with switching to a simpler style that works with the hairline as it is. So basically asking for another style for free since you already paid $120 for stitch braids. That would mean I have to take the stitch braids down and redo your hair for free because the hairline was left out. Now this is the thing, right? Most of my male clients, just about all my male clients, they leave that front hairline left out, right? Because a lot of men are starting to realize that it causes too much tension on their scalp to where it's thinning and balding if that hair is not left out. So I'm just so used to leaving it out so that the barber can cut it. That's what I usually do. So that's what I did for his hair. Not once did he say that he wanted their hair braided in. What he did mention to me was that he was growing his hairline out and he was growing it out for like the past 6 months, right? So I'm like, if you're growing your hairline out for the past 6 months, you didn't have to tell another braider to braid it in because you didn't have no hair right there. That's how I'm interpreting it. So then, we're still going back and forth. He's being respectful. It's not like an argument. It's just he's trying to negotiate getting his hair redone so that the hair is like braided into it, right? And he's basically wanting it done for free. But I'm just like, you never mentioned to me that you wanted that hair braided in. You never specifically said, hey, I want this hair braided in. So it's just miscommunication. It's literally just miscommunication. So I'm still standing on what I'm saying. I'm like, hey, in order for me to redo that, that'll be a touch-up fee. That's not like a free service. Then he goes on again. Thanks for explaining. I get that redoing the front hairline takes extra time to undo and rebraid properly, but $120 more on top of the original feels high for just that partial section, which I did not say that. I said it'd be about $20 to redo each braid. So I don't know why he assumed it'd be $120. Again, it's a lot of assumptions going on when you can clearly read through the text. But $120 more on top of the original feels high for just that partial section, especially as a first time miscommunication on leaving out the edges. Could we meet in the middle at $60 so I can get this seamless taper look without the step back? Let me know. Happy to book if we can sort it. Appreciate you. So now I send him again. I'm like, it would be $20 for a touch up, not $60 because it's like 4 braids right there. Then he's like, if that's what makes sense, skipping the extra today. Thanks though. Have a great one. And then I wake up this morning to a 1-star review, not because he did not like the braids, not because the braids look bad, not because of my customer service, but because the hair was left out in the front and he didn't want to pay to get that like put back in the braid. Now I know a couple options, a couple solutions. I could have tried to crochet it, but I'm not really sure how the crochet would have really worked with that hair because it was like such fine hair. I also could have asked him in the beginning if he wanted their hair braided into his braids, but I'm just so used to leaving that hair out so that my clients can get that cut. It didn't even dawn on me to be like, oh, he wants this as a part of his braid. So I just think to leave a 1-star review when the issue is not with the braids, is with your hair being left out. Like, why are you making it seem like, first of all, book one style but received another? Why are you making it seem like I did the wrong hairstyle on you when you clearly said in text message you wanted 6 stitch braids? And then charging extra to correct an assumption when you had an assumption. We both had an assumption. So it's just like, why leave a 1-star review and make me look like an asshole when it was a miscommunication on both our parts?